It was Easter weekend 2015. In the heart of London, something quite different was unfolding. A major vault, right in the city's jewellery quarter, had been breached. Not just breached, but thoroughly emptied. The scale of it was staggering. People asked themselves, how could this happen? In this day and age, with all the security technology available. The audacity was breathtaking, a throwback to a different era of crime. The initial reports were sketchy. Details were scarce. But the target itself spoke volumes. The Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company. This was a place where jewelers and dealers stored their most valuable items. The thieves had managed to bypass sophisticated alarms and reinforced doors. They had spent hours, possibly days, inside the vault. It was a puzzle that immediately gripped the public and the police. Who possessed such daring, such skill, or perhaps such inside knowledge? The police seemed baffled, at least initially. The thieves had vanished, leaving behind a scene of remarkable ambition. They had drilled through thick concrete walls. They had disabled complex security systems. This was a meticulously planned operation, executed with a strange kind of patience. The true shock, however, was yet to come. Devastating blow. The glittering treasure chest had been prized open. When the police finally started making arrests, the public was in for a surprise. The faces that appeared on the news were not those of young athletic criminals. Instead, they were wrinkled, grey-haired, and in some cases visibly frail. These were the bad grandpas, as the media quickly dubbed them. Men in their 60s and 70s, a collective of old-school villains who decided to pull off one of the most audacious heists in British history. The leader, or at least the most experienced figure, was Brian Reader. He was 76 at the time of the heist. Known as the Master or the Governor by his associates, Reader had a long and storied criminal career. He was even linked to the infamous Brinks-Mat gold bullion robbery in 1983. He was a meticulous planner, a man who understood the old ways of thievery. These men weren't new to the world of crime. They had extensive records, a lifetime spent on the wrong side of the law. The planning for the Hatton Garden heist was anything but haphazard. It was a carefully constructed scheme, developed over months, perhaps even years. Brian Reader, the seasoned veteran, was central to this. He and his associates conducted reconnaissance. They studied the building, the security systems, the routines of the staff and businesses in the area. They even reportedly gained access to the premises beforehand, perhaps with the help of the mysterious Basil, an insider who provided crucial information and a key to the building's fire escape. Their chosen method was audacious: to drill through the reinforced concrete wall of the vault. They procured a powerful Hilti DD 350 industrial drill, a piece of equipment designed for heavy construction work. They also needed other tools: crowbars, angle grinders, and sledgehammers. The gang disguised themselves as gas repairmen or construction workers, complete with high-vis jackets to avoid suspicion as they transported their gear. They chose the long Easter bank holiday weekend, knowing it would give them an extended period when the building would likely be deserted. The execution began on the night of Thursday, April 2nd, 2015. During that first night of drilling, something crucial happened. An alarm inside the Hatton Garden safe deposit building was triggered. At around midnight on Good Friday, a call was made to the police by the security company monitoring the system. This should have been the moment the heist unraveled. A police presence, a thorough check of the premises, and the gang would have been caught red-handed. However, what followed was a significant police blunder. The call was received, logged, and graded in a way that indicated no police response was required. No officers were dispatched to the scene. The gang, blissfully unaware of their narrow escape from detection, continued their work for several more hours before temporarily retreating. This lapse in procedure would later become a major point of embarrassment and internal review for the Metropolitan Police. Finally, after hours of relentless effort spread over 2 nights, they broke through. The sound of the final breach, the sight of the interior of the vault, must have been a moment of immense relief and triumph for the gang. They had done it. They had penetrated a fortress that was supposed to be impregnable. Inside, they found what they had come for: rows upon rows of safe deposit boxes. 73 of them were prized open. The contents were a glittering testament to Hatton Garden's trade diamonds, gold, precious gems, luxury watches, and bundles of cash. It was the culmination of all their planning, their risk-taking, and their sheer hard labor. The scene inside the vault was one of organized chaos. Empty boxes were strewn across the floor, tools lay where they were last used, and the air was still thick with the dust of their endeavors. The gang members, despite their age and ailments, worked methodically to sort through the spoils. They filled bags and wheeled bins with their loot. The initial estimates of the value of the stolen goods varied wildly, with some figures reaching as high as £200 million. While the final confirmed figure was closer to £14 million, it still represented one of the largest heists in English legal history. For these men, it was the score of a lifetime. There must have been a powerful sense of elation among them. In the immediate aftermath of the heist, as news broke on the Tuesday after Easter, the police faced immense pressure. The audacity and scale of the robbery were a major embarrassment. The flying squad, an elite branch of the Metropolitan Police, famed for tackling armed robberies, was tasked with hunting down the perpetrators. They began the painstaking work of piecing together the evidence. CCTV footage from the area, forensic examination of the scene, and intelligence gathering from informants became the cornerstones of their investigation. The media, meanwhile, had a field day, coining memorable monikers like the Diamond Weezers and the Bad Grandpas. The gang, despite their experience, made crucial mistakes. In an age of ubiquitous surveillance and digital footprints, their old-school methods left trails. Kenny Collins, the lookout, drove his own distinctive white Mercedes to the vicinity of the heist, a car that was easily traceable. Cell phone data placed several members near Hatton Garden during the crucial period. Perhaps the most damaging evidence came from their own conversations. The Hatton Garden heist wasn't just a crime, it was a sensation. It dominated newspaper headlines for weeks, then months. The age of the perpetrators, their colorful criminal histories, and the sheer audacity of the raid captured the public imagination in a way few crimes do. There was an almost folkloric quality to it. Here were these old-timers, seemingly past their prime, pulling off a job that younger, fitter criminals could only dream of. Nicknames like Dad's Army Burglars, Diamond Weezers, and Bad Grandpas stuck, adding a touch of dark humor to the proceedings. It felt like a story ripped from the pages of a classic British crime caper. It didn't take long for the story to leap from the news pages to other media. The narrative was simply too compelling to ignore. The trials of the Hatton Garden gang members concluded with significant prison sentences for most of the key players. Brian Reeder, Terry Perkins, Danny Jones, and Kenny Collins all received custodial sentences, effectively ensuring that these elderly criminals would spend many of their remaining years behind bars. Terry Perkins and Brian Reeder have since died in prison. For the victims, there was a measure of justice, though the emotional and financial toll remained. The police, despite the initial blunder over the alarm, were ultimately praised for their thorough investigation that brought the core group to account. However, a significant portion of the £14 million haul was never recovered. This remains one of the enduring mysteries of the Hatton Garden heist. Where did all the gold, diamonds and cash go? Some was found hidden, rather bizarrely, by Danny Jones, under gravestones in a cemetery. But millions are still missing. This missing loot fuels speculation and adds to the legend. Did some members manage to squirrel away more than they let on? Was it quickly dispersed into untraceable channels? The unanswered questions about the final destination of the valuables ensure that the story is not entirely closed.